Thank you, Peter. I'm here in the studio with guest countertenor Philippe Jaroussky, who will perform tomorrow evening at Mandel Hall with the Venice Baroque Orchestra. And today he'll be accompanied by pianist Craig Terry in a series of songs and arias. So welcome, Philippe, to WFMT. You. This is your first time to Chicago.
Thank you for inviting me.
Is this your first time to Chicago?
Yes, my first time, yes.
Yeah.
Very excited. And, for a French guy, Chicago is a magic world.
Well, thank you. Yeah. We're glad to have you here. Well, we could say really that this is your premiere here at WFMT and then your stage premiere tomorrow with the Venice Baroque Orchestra. And this is all in conjunction with the wonderful new album that you've just released of arias by Porpora, written for the great singer Farinelli. And you've been touring all throughout the United States. In fact, you were just in New York with a performance. Is that correct?
Yes. I was at the Met, but the Met Museum. And that was great. It was a nice auditorium. And really, it's only finally my second tour in America. Mm-hmm. I did one tour just 2 or 3 years ago with Apollo's Fire, the American group. And then I come back just now, and I'm very, very happy. And it's also a very nice opportunity for me to meet a new audience also, who probably knows me a little bit less than in Europe, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to get right to some music. We'll talk some more about this new album that you have coming out, and you'll perform one of the selections for us today. But your first piece is by Henry Purcell, one of his famous songs.
Yes, and I'm always afraid to sing in English, that I prefer to start with, then I'm I'm more relaxed after. Right. No, it's just I thought maybe that was a good idea to start with this beautiful masterpiece music for a while. Because I think, sometimes in a recital like tomorrow, most of the time you have to first show the voice. Mm-hmm. And most of the time we are starting with a quite grounded and virtuosic piece. And I think on the radio, I think I can do the contrary because it's very intimate.
Right.
And that's why I chose this one.
All right, here we go with Purcell's Music for a While, Philippe Jaroussky and pianist Craig Terry.
from out her hand.
Music for a While by Henry Purcell, countertenor Philippe Jaroussky and pianist Craig Terry performing for us live here in the Faye and Daniel Levin Performance Studio. What a beautiful song.
Thank you.
So
English
delicate.
piece is done.
Well, you've expressed some hesitancy, or I guess in interviews in the past, you said it was intimidating to sing in English. So for a non-native speaker, what are the challenges of singing in English?
Until now, it's already almost 15 years that I'm singing on stage. And it's true that I focused mainly on the castrato repertory, and then I, of course, sang most of the time in Italian. And finally, Italian is not such easy language. There is a lot of small details to work. By the way, English, I think, is probably one of the most difficult language to sing. And it's true that there is so many beautiful things to sing for a countertenor. Of course, Purcell, but all the oratorios by Handel.
Right.
And then I feel me probably ready to work on that, and probably because it's also a repertory with maybe, of course, less focused on virtuosity. And then this is something I'm much more interested in now. Of course, I like acrobatic arias, but more and more I just want to do music, and maybe a little bit less of circus, even if the virtuosity is very musical in a way. But it's true that I have some projects. By the way, I choose also this aria because in few days we'll be in France released a new album with Christina Plouard and the group called Arpeggiata, and we have dedicated an entire CD to Purcell, but in a quite jazz version.
She always does very interesting things.
And you will be surprised by this music for a while. I recorded with her because there is a clarinet jazz, there is some percussions, and I think a lot of people will be very maybe shocked by this CD, but I'm really looking forward about the reactions.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, talking about the countertenor repertoire, the number of singers out there today it's truly astounding compared to 2 or 3 decades ago, yourself and of course Andreas Scholl and David Daniels. And does this allow you then to really find those projects and the repertoire that suits your voice?
Yes, and actually, I'm 36, and now I know a lot of young countertenors. They have between 20 and 25, and they are already fantastic in Europe. They are really a new generation behind me, and they are really very, very well trained, and they are very brilliant. And of course, more you have countertenors, more you have different type of voices. And it's true that even 10 years ago, we were thinking that a countertenor was most of the time an alto. And maybe I was one of the first to change this image because I sang a lot quite high. And now there is a lot of countertenors who can really sing in a high soprano register. It's pretty impressive. And of course, as a countertenor, it's quite a modern voice. It's very modern. It just appeared after the Second World War with Alfred Deller.
Right.
And finally, it's interesting to see that Benjamin Britten, for example, he wrote for Deller. And then I think we don't have a specific repertory. Of course, we can sing the castrato repertory, but we know that the voices are quite different. And probably as a countertenor, it's the thing I like. We can choose in function of our own taste what we like to sing. And I don't want to sing only this castrato repertory. I like to sing church music, it's true, sacred songs, but I like the French repertory of the 20th century, like Ravel, Debussy, Fauré, and I like sometimes to choose one project about contemporary music, and each 2-3 years I try to make a creation of a piece who is really written for a countertenor for once.
Well, in this next, you're going to perform two selections for us next. In fact, a song from the 19th century, right?
Yes.
By Reynaldo Hahn, Chloris, and before that some Handel from Giulio Cesare. So tell us about the next two pieces that you have for us.
Giulio Cesare is not a part I sung on stage. But I thought it was a nice introduction, and I would like to speak about this Reynaldo Hahn, who really, I think you know a little bit about this Reynaldo Hahn in America, because you have this beautiful recording by Susan Graham.
Right, yeah.
And I think he was a genius for these small songs, and and this one is a very, how do you say that in English, a clin d'œil about Bach, because the bass is the famous aria in D major by Bach, and he's playing with this color. That's why I thought it was nice to mix the both together to have a nice contrast, but sweet. And I love to sing French songs for many reasons. First, this is the only occasion I can sing French, because in the French Baroque, there is practically nothing for countertenors. It's for haute contre with a quite different voice. It's a high tenor. Okay. And it's very important for me to sing in my own languages. And by the way, I think I really like to make recitals with piano also. It's a different relationship, between an orchestra and just a piano. And a piano is already an entire world. You can do everything. And that's what I like to. And I think maybe next time I will come back in America will be with a program of French songs.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Thank you.
So now we're going to hear some music from Handel's Giulio Cesare and the song Chloris by Reynaldo Hahn, again with countertenor Philippe Jaroussky and pianist Craig Terry. song Chloris by Reynaldo Ahn, and before that Presti Omai from Giulio Cesare by Handel, with countertenor Philippe Jaroussky and pianist Craig Terry. And Philippe Jaroussky will perform tomorrow with the Venice Baroque Orchestra at Mendel Hall. That starts at 7:30, and then you're on to the Krannert Center at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana on Saturday, March 1st. That's also at 7:30 p.m. And for your final selection today, you're going to perform an excerpt from your new album. So let's talk about that a little bit. A fascinating program of arias by Porpora, written for the great castrato singer Farinelli. And the program tomorrow is also titled A Legendary Battle. And so you've got two different composers. You've got Handel and Porpora competing in London in the 1730s, and these two great castrato singers. So tell us about that story and how you put it all together.
This is a fascinating story. You know, I did a CD about the other castrato, Carestini, already almost 10 years ago, I think. I was totally fascinated by this singer, and he sang with Handel in London. Mm-hmm. And probably Handel engaged Carestini because he has to affront Porpora with Farinelli, who was, of course, the most famous singer at this time. And Farinelli was the student of Porpora from the beginning. Then Farinelli couldn't say no to Porpora, and probably Porpora asked Farinelli to come to London because he knew that the quality of the music by Handel was probably maybe better than him. Mm-hmm. And of course, with Farinelli, he could fight with Handel. Then Handel engaged the second most famous one at this period, who was Carestini. And it's very funny because Carestini and Farinelli, they really hated each other. They sang at the beginning together in several operas, but after it was impossible to engage the both in the same production, of course. And you can imagine that, of course, all the audience in London, they were probably listening the two companies, and they were comparing all the time the new opera by Handel, the new opera by Porpora. And of course, you know, when I released this CD about the Porpora music in Europe, of course I did an entire Porpora program, but really I thought that for America, and I'm not going here so often, I think this story about this battle was much more entertaining. And of course it's the occasion for me to sing again some beautiful masterpieces by Handel, like this beautiful Scherza in Fida from Ariodante, mm-hmm. who's, I think, now a lot of singers, female singers or countertenors are singing now, because it's just such an unbelievable aria. And then of course, you know, I said like a joke after each concert I did now that most of the time Handel won the battle. It's probably true. Of course, Porpora doesn't have the genius of Handel. We know that. But the writing, the way he's writing for the voice, he knows perfectly the voice. He was one of the most famous teacher for mm-hmm. singers. And then I really liked what I wanted to do in this project about Farinelli and Porpora on the CD, is to show that you can feel the love that Porpora had for Farinelli with the music, particularly with the slow arias. And really, if Porpora and Farinelli wouldn't be there in London at this time, maybe we can probably think that Handel wouldn't compose these so beautiful two operas, Ariodante and Alcina. I'm sure that probably Handel was totally, how do you say that, not inspired, but he had this emulation.
Right.
Yes.
Admiration of singers.
He need to compete.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then he need to give the best of himself too.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's a reason why you have this beautiful Ariodante and Alcina. And by the way, I think it's true, Porpora, even if he doesn't have the genius of Handel, he deserves to be much better known, because his music is very interesting. This is typically Napolitan style. And the vocal line is really looking more in the classical period, you know, and then we know that he teached to Haydn too. Then it's really a very important character, and you know, when I'm singing unknown music like this, it's giving me on stage a different energy, of course, because I really want that people like the music. This is the most important thing for me, not my voice, but the music I sing. And then I really like to put my voice at the service of composers like this.
Well, in the selection that you have on this new album, as you said earlier, you have the fireworks and the virtuosic pieces, but the lyrical moments are really quite beautiful. But looking back to the castrato and their physical abilities of being able to, I guess they had a huge lung capacity and were able to sustain these lines and these notes. So how do you, as a countertenor today, approach this music and keep that lyrical line going?
Yes, it's true. And probably with this album, I wanted also to change the image. I think, you know, Farinelli was able to sing approximately everything, we can say. And most of the composers, they used that, just that. And of course, Porpora, he knows so well Farinelli that he respecting Farinelli more as a musician, not only as a singer, not the vocal monster, you know. And it's true that his lung capacity is probably was giving something very magical on stage, because I'm sure that they were not moving at all. It was effortless. And it was like, I'm sure the voice wasn't going out from their own body, you know. And that was probably something impressive. And, you know, for the last aria that I choose to sing this morning, we start with this famous speciality of the castrato, which is the messa di voce, is to sustain a note a very long time, with a crescendo and a decrescendo. And when I'm doing that on stage, a lot of people are speaking about that it was a magical moment, that was beautiful done, or things like this. But you have to keep in mind that probably Farinelli was sustaining this note probably 3-4 times more than me.
Wow.
And you can imagine the impact on the audience. They were just, I'm sure that the audience couldn't even breathe anymore.
Well, let's hear it now. This is from the opera Polifemo.
Yes.
Of Porpora, Alto Giove.
Yes, it's great Jove. Yes. Okay. And it's probably one of the most beautiful aria that Porpora wrote for Farinelli.
Once again, Philippe Jaroussky, countertenor, and pianist Craig Terry. Alto Giove from Polifemo by Nicola Porpora, as performed for us today by countertenor Philippe Jaroussky and pianist Craig Terry. You're right, it's just one of those moments where time just sort of suspends.
Yes, there is something like Schubert, no, in this aria. It's timeless. Yeah, it's really, after just few seconds of introduction by the orchestra, you have already in a different world. It's very nice aria.
And you're going to perform this tomorrow with the Venice Baroque Orchestra?
Yes, in his long version, because of course there is a da capo version. Then this aria, finally, the duration is more than 10 minutes.
Okay. Just one more question about your musical career. You actually started off, I read, as a violinist.
Yes.
And you also played the piano and then came to singing relatively late. And, you know, we hear so many musicians, so many instrumentalists who talk about bringing a singing approach to their playing. So what about the reverse of that? What has your violin playing brought to your singing as a countertenor?
Yes, still no, there are some people that are saying that I'm singing like a violinist. Yeah. I don't know really what it means, but it's true that when you are working and training on an instrument as difficult as the violin or the piano, of course it's giving you a very deep and strict approach of the music, and of course it gave me a lot of things. Of course I can speak about harmony with my musicians, and some orchestras sometimes they say, oh, you're a musician like us, you know, because they don't sometimes consider the singers like musicians. And by the way, I have to say that sometimes at the beginning it was difficult too, because to be a singer is quite different, because you don't see your instrument. Everything is inside you, and you have to express words, poetry, drama, feelings. And I remember that I was feeling me totally naked when I started to sing, and I needed a lot of years to really feel that I was really expressing the words and the poetry. And still now it's a big, it's always a big fight. I don't have to sing only the notes. The notes, it's quite easy for me. But what is more difficult is really to express the drama and to touch people with the emotion of the text.
Well, and your own personality, of course, that inherently comes through your voice. And
what I felt when I started to sing is that compared to the instruments, you can't lie. You are really yourself, and particularly on stage, it's something you can feel deeply. And sometimes at the beginning, you are a young singer, you try to hide yourself a little bit. You're a little bit shy, but finally, it's quite indecent to be a singer. You show everything. You know, it's like you open your shirt, you know. And you have to do that, of course. Only on stage, of course, but
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for coming. Thanks to Greg. It was great to make music with him.
Craig
Absolutely.
Terry.
What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Craig Terry from the Ryan Opera Center. And you can hear Philippe Jaroussky with the Venice Baroque Orchestra tomorrow night at Mandel Hall at the University of Chicago. That starts at 7:30. And then you're down at the Krantert Center at the University of Illinois, Saturday, March 1st, also at 7:30. And then you've got this new recording project that's coming up. Do you know when that will be coming out?
Yes, a lot. I can announce already this Purcell project.
Right.
And there will be a second Vivaldi album end of the year, and French songs the year after. And a lot of things.
Well, we've enjoyed your recordings over the years, so it's great to meet you and hear you in person.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to come here.
Philippe Jaroussky and Craig Terry today, and our producer is Louise Frank of the Impromptu series, our engineer, Mary Mazurek, and I'm Lisa Flynn. Let's go back now to the studio and Peter Van de Graaf.
Thank you, Lisa. This Impromptu on 98.7 WFMT is supported in part by a grant from the Elizabeth F. Cheney Foundation, a Chicago-based philanthropy dedicated to arts and culture, and by generous contributions from members of WFMT's Fine Arts Circle. If you enjoyed this live performance, please consider joining the Fine Arts Circle yourself. You can become a WFMT member right now by pledging online at WFMT.com.